Let's take a minute to get familiar with some of the touch gestures when sketching in Onshape so you can be nimble and precise when working with 2D geometry. To start a sketch, I can touch the sketch icon. And when I'm prompted to select the sketch plane, I can touch either a face of the model or default reference plane. Let me cancel out of this sketch for a moment. You can often save time and have quick access to commands in Onshape from a context-sensitive menu. This time, I'll touch a face to select it first. In case the face you want to select is small or perhaps a bit obscured by the orientation of the model, you can bring up the Precision Select tool by touching and holding on the screen. And when I pick up my finger, the face is selected. To bring up the context menu, I can tap with 2 fingers and touch the sketch icon to begin a new sketch on the face. To look normal to the sketch, I can again touch with 2 fingers to view normal to the sketch plane from the menu. The sketch tools in the touch interface work the same way as they do in the browser on a computer, but there are a few techniques that I can share with you to have a precise control over what you're doing. For instance, I'll activate the line. And if I quickly touch a few times on the screen, of course the chain of lines is created, but I didn't have much precision over where the endpoints were due to my own somewhat clumsy touches on the screen. I can end the chain of lines by double tapping on the screen. Let me undo to get rid of these segments. This time, when I activate the line tool, rather than tapping for each endpoint, watch as I touch and hold down my finger. I can move my finger around to get an accurate placement of the first endpoint, pick up my finger to place it, and touch and hold again to get an accurate placement for the next endpoint. Watch as I hover over some other geometry here. Inference lines appear where I can establish automatic geometric constraints from the item that's highlighted. And of course, I can move close to horizontal to make this line segment have the horizontal constraint. I'll add one more segment. And I could end the chain of lines again by double tapping, or I can turn off the line tool by touching its icon on the toolbar to deactivate it. In general, regardless of which sketch tool you're using, I recommend this technique of touching and holding to accurately place each item. For the radius of this arc, notice the line segment highlight, letting me know that a tangent constraint will be added. I'll go ahead and touch the arc icon again to deactivate the tool. To modify any underdefined sketch geometry, you can do so, of course, by touching it. A lot of users who are new to using Onshape on a touch device have an instinct to just touch and move the item in a single motion and end up rotating the view instead. I'll look normal to the view again from the context menu. To modify an item, it's best to first touch it to select it. This will lock the view so that I can touch and hold anywhere on the screen to manipulate it. And when I'm finished, I can double tap anywhere on the screen to deselect it and unlock the view. You can also select multiple items. And with them selected, again, just touch and hold anywhere on the screen to manipulate them together. So earlier, I added a couple of automatic geometric constraints when sketching. If you'd like to add constraints afterwards, just select the item or items. Touch the constraint icon and pick the constraint that you'd like to add. To add dimensions, I'll activate the Dimension tool. And when I touch a segment, a preview of the dimension appears. If I touch in space, it'll place the dimension, or I can select another entity to create a dimension between them. And when the preview appears, I can touch to place the dimension and enter a value. Since the Dimension tool is still active, if I touch the arc here, I can add one more dimension to fully constrain this sketch. To create a 3D feature using this sketch, I can click OK to finish the sketch, and when I do, the toolbar at the top will switch from the sketch tools to 3D features. I'll go ahead and extrude this real quick. To edit a sketch, you can touch the ellipses icon to edit from here. To modify a dimension, I can double tap on it and type a new value. Also notice in the dialog here, I can see the constraints that are in the sketch. Any of the constraints can be deleted by swiping to the left to reveal the delete option. I'll tap the check in the geometry updates. Well, I obviously didn't cover every sketch tool and sketch entity here. Those are a few techniques that should help you be nimble in the sketching environment. Take some time to practice and get familiar with some of the tools, and you'll find your sketches coming together with precision quickly.